So here we're in Visual Studio, there's a collection of projects. The one that's selected here, Text Analytics, is a simple console application. So if we open that, we'll see we get the code. If we scroll down to the entry point for this particular console application, we're just sending some text to the console, and we've got three methods: process entities, key phrases, and sentiment. What we're doing here is we're passing in the document ID and a body of text, which we can see here. If we look into the process entities method, we'll see we've got the document ID and the text. Now what we've got here is an instance of the Text Analytics API client. This object is available through the dedicated SDK, which you can download for free in the form of a NuGet package, and it expects an Azure region and Text Analytics key before you can actually use it. So, and the way that you get that is by logging into the Azure portal, and we just log into the Azure portal, provision the service, we get a dashboard, and what you see is you get an endpoint, which is a string. Take a note of that, and then you get a private key that shouldn't be shared with anybody, and you pass that in here. So when you've got these, you're good to go. And to get the entities out of this text, we simply call client.entities, and then what we're doing is we're just looping through all of the entities and then putting that information into the console. If we take a little bit of a closer look here, we've got the entity name, we've got the type of entity, and then we've also got the Wikipedia URL for any entities that have been identified. On that note, it could be beneficial for you to take the Wikipedia URL, perform an HTTP request, get some further information about the entity that you just processed, apply the Text Analytics API again, and then you can run another method that will let you extract common keywords, for example, or even other entities that exist in the Wikipedia page. So what we'll do now is we'll run through this method. So we'll start the application, we'll put a breakpoint on here, and what we'll see is here is the Text Analytics API will pass out any of the entities that exist in this text. So the breakpoint's hit here. If we fire up the console window, make the text a little bit bigger. So we're processing this text here, and then here we have the entities. So it's identified three, two that belong to Ignite, and then one is actually a location. So the first one, the type is other. It's also got a Wikipedia URL. So that's in reference to Microsoft Ignite, the event. And then we've also got another one that's been identified. The API has identified that Ignite is also an organization within Microsoft, and Orlando, Florida, that's a location. Again, we've got a Wikipedia URL that contains more information about Orlando, Florida. So quite a lot of different use cases for this information, really. You can point this API at, say, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or even internal documentation. You can then use that to pass out the most commonly referenced entities and then surface that data in reports to help inform business decisions. Another use for it would be to point this at your corporate email and find the hot topics that people are talking about, or even like your CRM database. In terms of implementing it, low barrier to entry. The number of lines of code are pretty small, as we've just seen here. It's less than, 10-15 lines of code, and you could get up and running very quickly. You can get started all for free and with 5,000 credits, and then there's a price point or an escalating price point in terms of the number of transactions that you make each month. So that was an introduction to Cognitive Services and the Text Analytics API and how you can use it to pass out any entities. In the next episode of this mini-series, what we'll look at is how you can use the API to pass out any key phrases in a body of text.